Maybe a lot of women are unaware that hormonal birth control causes depression and dramatically increases risk of suicide and changes their preferences on who they want to marry or have kids with, changes their personality.
People who are spreading the idea that contraception is dangerous or makes you attracted to the wrong person, what they're doing is stigmatizing contraception. Persistent lying works. We start believing things when we hear them lots of times.
Look, I love the women in my life. I do not want them to disrupt their brains, their hormones, to increase the risk of cancer and cardiovascular disease by using an industrial chemical for birth control.
And if you start hearing that contraception is dangerous lots of times, and all your friends do too, and so do your teachers, and so does everybody else around you, it starts to become true.
Kids growing up in America, it completely depends on their zip code, whether or not they get any sex education, whether or not their sex education is medically accurate, whether it's age appropriate, whether it's inclusive. And sex education is the ultimate way to help young people not only know what is true, what is right, but also be able to recognize when something doesn't sound right. When they see a video about the harms of contraception, they might pause and think, that doesn't sound right to me.
I am going to teach you how to track your cycle so you can get off of that dang birth control.
People who tell you that contraception is dangerous might also be telling you that you should be tracking your cycle. Now, let me tell you, I have tracked my cycle for decades. Cycle tracking is not the same thing as fertility awareness-based contraception.
There are a lot of different apps and gadgets out there to track your cycle, but only 2 apps have been approved by the FDA for contraceptive purposes. And only one of those apps is actually available on the US market.
Fertility awareness-based methods can be really great if it's done perfectly, but it also needs a lot of interaction with it.
Instead of being offered as one option among many, fertility awareness-based methods are being promoted by spreading misinformation that hormonal contraception is dangerous.
If you were my sister, I would tell you to not go on birth control. Birth control does nothing good for you.
I recently got off hormonal birth control and decided to track my cycles.
If you want to explore fertility awareness-based methods, by all means do that. But don't use a fertility awareness-based method because you believe the lies that birth control pills are unnatural or cause infertility. That's just untrue.
God gives the command to be fruitful and multiply multiple times throughout the Bible. The abundance of children is generally seen as a good thing. In fact, barrenness is often listed as a curse.
One of the key elements of feminine gender norms is the idea that you should be always able to become pregnant and the inevitability of motherhood.
The birth rate in the United States has been declining since 2007. This is catastrophic.
What ended most civilizations was a low birth rate.
Pronatalism is a cultural and growing political movement that is concerned with certain populations, primarily educated white folks, not having enough babies.
They want you to have kids all the time because having kids all the time is fulfilling women's traditional gender role. At least being open to having kids all the time is fulfilling your traditional gender role. As contraception gets increasingly stigmatized, as we start believing that it's dangerous, deviant, because you better be having babies, and wrong, because you better be having babies, it will become easier for lawmakers to pass and enforce laws and for courts to uphold those laws that restrict contraception.
Ultimately, what Project 2025 is trying to do is to discredit many of the different kinds of birth control out there as part of a longer-term agenda to outlaw contraception in America. But going even beyond contraception, Project 2025 is trying to control women and our bodies and take away our freedom.
Support advocacy organizations and reproductive health facilities that are actually delivering services to patients right now. Talk to your friends and neighbors about what's going on. That's an important bit of advocacy because people will feel seen and heard, and maybe they get new information.
Sex education is critical for young people to know what is true and what isn't. Go to seekus.org to learn more about how you can get involved in making sure that every state in America and at the federal level has policies that protect and promote the right to sex education for our young people.